In this video, we're going to create a very powerful custom email response automation tool using Make.com, ChatGPT, and Google Sheet. This is going to be a very useful automation tool. So let me show you exactly what we're going to build. We're going to basically categorize all incoming customer emails that customers would normally send to a business, whether it's going to be a request for information or it's going to be some kind of a complaint. So for the first category, which is request for information, something like, for example, if a customer sends an email to you or your business saying, hey, my password is not working or something is going on, then our automation tool will have the ability to draft a customer response email and send it to our customer representative. And all our customer representative has to do is just basically review it and click on send. And as you can see, it's very powerful because it actually writes the step-by-step guide on how to resolve a customer request that's coming in without the need for us or our customer representative to go ahead and write that email manually. And then the second form of email that this automation tool will send will be some kind of a customer service response. So let's say if a customer for your business is sending a complaint or some kind of a feedback, then this tool will be able to recognize those emails that this email is actually a customer complaint or a customer feedback, and therefore respond accordingly based on the templates that we provide on our Google Sheets. And again, we'll create a Google Sheets where the incoming emails will be watched and monitored to have it categorized either as an information request or a customer complaint. And then we're going to provide the following template or the following prompts based on that categorization to our customer email through our ChatGPT, and we'll provide those filters and make sure that the proper response is provided, and a draft will be created as the final step, where we then have the ability to actually review that draft ourselves and press send to our customers. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first step is to head over to Make.com and create an account. And if you don't already have an account, they have a really good free account. I've put the link in the description where you can just click on it and register. Once you get registered, you're going to land right here. And then what we're going to do is actually head over to the top right hand corner and click on create a new scenario. Okay, and then the first thing we need to do is actually name this scenario. So I'm going to come here on the top left hand corner, double click and change the name to say customer email response. There you go. Again, you can name it whatever you want. So what we're going to do next is click on this giant plus button. And the first thing we need to do is add a trigger. What that means is, in order for the following step to happen, we have to first provide a trigger, and in our case, it will be watching our emails, right? Because we want to watch all incoming emails, because this is going to be a custom email response automation. So the first thing we need to do is actually create that trigger. And once you click on the button, I'm gonna search here and say mail. You could either directly choose Gmail or mail or email itself, and then you can connect your account through that. So I'm just going to click on email. And then, all right, so this is all of the options that we have available. The bottom, these are the actions. What we're looking for is the trigger. So the trigger is going to be watch emails. And again, the trigger, this says that it triggers when a new email is received for processing according to a specified criteria. So we're going to click on watch emails. All right, so here's kind of a tricky thing here. If you don't have your email connected, this is not going to show as my Google restriction. Is just going to say connect email or add a connection. So basically it's going to look similar to this connection type. So once you click on that connect email or connection email, this is going to show up, and then you're going to select from a drop down menu. Again, depending on what kind of email you're planning to use, then you have these options available. The most common is obviously Gmail. So you're going to click on Google restricted. Once you click on this thing, this is going to ask you for the connection name. So you just put a connection name, and then the way to do this is, if you're using your personal email, it is a little bit tricky. It requires a little bit of work, but the great thing is they provide this great guide right here. If you see on the bottom right here, it says when using a personal Google account at Gmail or at Google Mail, please follow this guide. And they provided, this guide is really good in my opinion, because they go through step by step. So you can follow kind of the step-by-step guide right here. Or the best thing I think is these videos that they have created. And again, I did this already. I went through this. So feel free to go ahead and click on this video and kind of just follow everything step by step, because this will make you go to Google OAuth setup and creating credentials, so that way you can connect your Gmail account and allow Make.com to be able to access your emails. So anyways, once you go through that, you'll come back and it's gonna basically look something like this, where now you have your Google account already connected, and it's gonna say my Google restricted connection, and then this option is gonna be available where you now can click to choose a folder to add this trigger to your email. So what I'm gonna do is click here to choose a folder, and this is gonna open up all the folders that Make.com has access within your mailbox. And obviously it's going to be the inbox, all mail, drafts, important, sent mail, just exactly like what your Gmail would look like. So since we're triggering this email to watch for all incoming emails on our inbox, so I'm just going to select inbox. All right, for criteria, again, you can choose all emails, only read emails, or only unread emails. So these are the three options you have, but obviously for us, we're going to be watching for all incoming emails, which will be the customers that are sending inquiries about your business, or they're sending complaints, or whatever it may be. So we're going to watch for the trigger for only unread emails that are coming into our inbox folder. So I'm going to click on only unread emails. So the rest we can leave as blank, because this is, again, if you want to specify a particular person that's sending that email. But in our case, if we're using this for our personal business or personal account, then we want to monitor all incoming emails that are unread. And again, same thing, you could even specify the subject if you're looking for something particular, or even a particular phrase inside of the content of the email. Again, the rest will read as it is, leave as it is, and I'm going to click on OK. All right, so now it's saying, where do you want this trigger, or when do you want this trigger to start, right? So when you set this automation, you can either set it from a specific date where it says, okay, from this date on, turn on this automation or look for this trigger to occur. But for now, we're just going to say from now on, basically, because we're planning to run it as soon as possible. So I'm just going to leave it from now on and click on OK. All right, so now our trigger is done. So now we have set our emails where all incoming emails to our inbox will be monitored. And as soon as a trigger occurs, and in our case, whenever a customer sends a new email, then now the next step is, what are we going to do with that, right? So now we need to set up, once that trigger gets activated, what do we need to do? So now we're going to click on add another module, and on Make.com, if you're not familiar with it, if you just go on the right hand side, there's like an additional plus button that shows up, that then you can connect another module to this trigger. So I'm going to click on add, and the same thing, another button pops up right here, a plus button. All right, so this is going to be where we're going to add an instance of ChatGPT. So what we need to do is search for ChatGPT. This shows up. All right, and we're going to click on the first one. And the verified just means that I've already gone through and verified my account with it. But if not, I'll show you exactly what to do. Okay, so then we're going to click on the actions. Is going to be create a completion. Click on this one. So now, because I've already connected my account, my OpenAI connection is complete here. But if you haven't, it's going to same thing. It's going to show the connect your account button here, and it's going to look something like this. So what you need to do here is add your Open API account API key and organization ID. And the way you do that is, unfortunately, you have to have a paid account to be able to access ChatGPT via Make.com, or, to be honest, any other automation software. So you have to create a paid account. And the way you access, or the way you acquire your API keys, is if you go over here to the platform.openapi.com, you can just come here and create a secret key, and you can just name it, and then create a secret key, and then that way you can copy and paste that to your account there. Again, you want to make sure that that secret key is not accessible to somebody else, because then they can technically use that. But anyways, once you click on grab that secret key, you're going to basically copy that and then come here and paste on an API key. And then your organization ID, you can get that from the setting, and that's over here on the top right hand side. If you just click on that, you'll be able to grab the organization key. And again, that's fine if somebody has access to it. It's not a big deal, as long as they don't have access to your secret key. That's the important part. All right, so once that's done, and again, I want to emphasize that you should be on a paid account, a ChatGPT paid account, and you have to have a little bit of money on your API account, like $5 or something like that, to be able to access ChatGPT APIs through the connection from make.com. So make sure you add like $5 or something like that to your account. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so once you have your OpenAPI connected, it's going to show us my OpenAPI connection or whatever you named it. So now we should be able to continue with the next steps. So first thing is selecting a method, right? So we're going to stay on create a chat completion, GPT models, and now you're going to select your model. So depending on, what kind of a account you have, all of your options will be shown. So I'm just going to select GPT-4. Again, you can select GPT-4 or GPT-4o if you have the latest version. So I'm just going to select that. Okay, so on the messages now, this is where we're going to add our message where we'll ask ChatGPT to basically categorize the incoming emails that are coming in from our inbox in our first trigger step. All right, so you're going to click on that plus button on the message, and then the first thing is going to be the role. So we're going to select the user here, and then the message content. All right, so now here's where we'll basically instruct ChatGPT to categorize the incoming email from the customer into either a request for more information or a complaint or some kind of a issue that they have. So I'm going to say categorize following email and then quotation mark. This is where we will put the content of the email that's coming in from our trigger here. And then in this case, I can just go ahead and on the email, come down here and select the text content, right? So once you just basically take that select text content and put it into that quotation mark, because we're telling ChatGPT the content of the email that's coming in into our inbox. And again, that's being triggered or that's being monitored by our email module right here. Take that, whatever it is, and then categorize it based on the following criteria, which we will specify. So I'm just going to select text content from this drop down or from this options here, okay, into one of the following. And what is going to be that following? It's going to be an information request, right? So an information request, or it's going to be a customer complaint. Again, it could be whatever you want. This is just the titles, and again, I'll specify why I'm choosing these two categories, because we're going to specify this on our Google Sheet, which we'll do in a little bit. Okay, so now that's done. Now we're going to come down here. So max tokens. So the way the max token works, again, you can Google this or use ChatGPT to find out the details of what max token is, but you can put up to a certain amount of numbers where ChatGPT will provide a response based on the maximum amount of token that you're allowing it. If you put 0, it's going to basically use the maximum number of token for the entire limit of the model that's set. Again, I don't want to go deep into that. If you want to know more about it, you can find out on your own, but you can put for something like an email response, you can put something like 300 tokens, or you can just put 0, to be honest, like if you want to be able to just utilize the entire number of tokens that the model has access to. But I'm going to put 300 for now. So kind of play around. If you see that it's not working properly on your email response, then maybe reduce or increase that number. All right, so we're pretty much done with this one now. I'm going to click on OK. Okay, so far we have our trigger, which is our email. So it's going to watch for our emails for all incoming emails that's going to be on our inbox. So once that trigger is initiated, our first instance of the ChatGPT is gonna take that email, the content of that email, and basically categorize it in one of those two categories that we put. So either it's gonna be an information request or customer complaint. So now once it does that, we need to provide ChatGPT with a template that after that categorization, here are the templates that you can utilize to respond or create a draft email to send back to that customer. So let's go ahead and add the data or those templates for those responses into our next module. So we're going to come here on the right hand side, again, click on that plus, and now we can use Google Sheet here. So I'm going to just go ahead. You can either search Google Sheet or, mine, because Google Sheet I use quite often. So it's on the top right here. So I'm going to click on Google Sheets. Okay, and then you have all these actions that's available for you. So I'm going to go ahead and select the search rows. And if you scroll down to the bottom, and again, or you can just search it right there, I'm going to click on search rows. Okay, so before we complete this step, let's go ahead and create a Google Sheet on our Google Drive, so that way we can put those templates on our Google Sheet, so that way then we can connect that here on make.com to be able to access there. So I'm going to go ahead to my Google account and create a new Google Sheet. All right, so we're on our Google Sheet and we're going to name this one customer requests. Okay, or inquiries, or again, you can choose whatever you want. Okay, so the first column is going to be category, right? Because that's what we want to categorize the emails to. And then the second is going to be prompt. And again, this is going to be the prompt that we'll have ChatGPT provide for us when it comes to customer responses. Let's format this real quick. I'm just going to bold and make it a little bigger. All right, and then we had two categories. The first one was, what was the first one? Hold on a second. I think I changed it. So if we go back to ChatGPT, information request and customer complaint. All right, so we can do information request and customer complaint. Again, this is just an example. You can do whatever you want depending on what you're creating. But let's go ahead and for these two now add the prompts. So for information requests, again, same thing. I literally just went to ChatGPT and basically searched for or created kind of like a sample response that a normal technical support request will be sent to. So I'm just going to basically copy and paste it from here. So I'm just going to do this, copy, and go back to my prompt for information request and paste. Oh, and I also forgot to copy the initial prompt. So it's going to be compose. We're going to say compose an email response to this inquiry or request, ensuring that all requested information is included. Use the provided email sample as a reference when writing your reply. So we're basically going to add this on top of that. So we're going to say this. There you go. All right. So now we're essentially saying, let me put some quotation mark here. We're basically saying compose an email. So we're writing this to ChatGPT and we're giving it the following format, right? It's going to look something like that. And then when I'm going to bottom, I'm just going to say, this is the email and put that in quotation marks. So that way now it's saying, okay, so compose the following email format, again, in this format. And then this is the email, meaning that we're going to get this email from the content of our trigger that's coming in from our initial module that we put in. Okay, so that's good. So now let's do the same thing, similar for customer complaint. Again, I'm just going to copy paste it from ChatGPT. Copy and paste. All right, so same thing. We're just going to say compose an email response to this complaint or issue, ensuring all requested information is included. Use the provided email sample as reference when writing your reply. So this is the sample reference we're providing to it, kind of like a sample format. And here's the email, meaning that whatever we provided from our initial trigger module. All right, so that's done. Okay, so now we can go back to our scenario, our Google Sheet. And again, same thing, make sure your Google connection is added properly. And then we're gonna come down here, select from my drive. All right, so now our customer request table that we just created is there. So I'm gonna click on customer requests, and now it's gonna load that spreadsheet with the sheet name. I don't think we named the sheet. I think it was just called sheet 1. Table contains header, yes, because we provided headers. Column range A to Z. Yeah, so the category and the prompt, so these are the two options. And again, this is our two columns that we created on our customer request Google Sheet here. So what we need to do is we need to provide it, we need to have it filter by the category column. And again, the reason why we're doing this is because we want to make sure that from the first response that we get from ChatGPT, it's gonna already categorize the email that's coming in as a request for information or a customer complaint, right? So it's gonna do that operation in this step. And now we're asking it, okay, so now once that category is done, Now provide the response that ChatGPT will give based on that category. So we're going to click on choices, message, and just say content. Okay. So again, just to re-emphasize, we are watching for a trigger, an email to come in. On the second module, ChatGPT is going to categorize that email, whether it's a request for information or is it a customer complaint. And then on the third module with Google Sheet, once we get that response from ChatGPT, whether this thing is going to be category of customer information or customer complaint, then we're going to provide the message content, meaning that whatever is coming from ChatGPT will provide that back based on the Google Sheet prompts that we gave. All right, so that's pretty much done. We'll leave the sort order as ascending, and we're going to click on OK. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to add another module, another ChatGPT module for basically the response that we get once it's categorized and have access to the Google Sheet information. So we're going to add another plus sign and click on OpenAI. Create a completion. So again, you got to make sure that that's connected. Module. So I'm just going to do GPT-4o. I think that's what I did earlier. Add the message. Role is going to be user again. So the message content. So now this is going to be our prompt that ChatGPT is going to create based on the first categorization and then based on the Google Sheet data that it has access to. So we're just going to come here and click on prompt. Okay, now we did that. And we're also going to add our text content from the email that's coming in as well, right? Because once the prompt is given, remember on the customer sheet, we basically said, okay, once the category is done, we'll give this prompt to ChatGPT that it's going to compose an email based on whatever category it was identified as. And then it says, this is the email. So now we have to provide that email, right? Meaning that that's the email that's coming in from customer. Therefore, we have to select the text content here. All right, so that's done. So max tokens, again, you can put either 0 or 300. I'm just going to put 300. Click on OK. Okay, so now we have one more step. So we can now, once all of this is done, now we will ask for an email draft to be created based on what ChatGPT responded. So I'm going to go ahead and click on email. And then I'm going to say create a draft, because again, obviously we don't want to send an email or copy an email. We're just going to create a draft so that we have the chance to review it. And then as a user, we will have the ability to press send based on our review. So I'm going to click on create a draft. Again, make sure your Google is connected. So the folder, this time I'm going to choose my drafts, and the subject, we can just get this from our email content subject itself. So if I scroll down here, I'll just do subject. That's good. And content, I'm going to leave as HTML or content type HTML. And then the content is going to be the message that ChatGPT sent us. So I'm going to click on choices, and I'm going to click on message and content. All right, I think that's it. So we're going to click on OK. What did I forget? It says to add field must have been. Oh, I forgot a recipient. So for now, we're just going to add just like a general or a sample email. So I'm just going to say John Doe at example.com. Okay. And click on OK. Okay, so now we're pretty much done. So let's go ahead and test this thing out, right? So I'm going to head over to my email account and just click on draft. So my draft is empty right now. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and compose an email, and I'm just going to say send this to my account. And again, to test this out, our trigger is going to be monitoring our inbox. So I have to send an email to my inbox in order for this action to happen. So I'm just going to copy paste my email. All right, and the subject is going to be my account is not working. Sorry, actually, let's say I'm gonna say my password, because that's usually the most common thing, is not working. Hi, I have tried to log in, but it seems like my password is not working properly. please help. Okay, and then I'm gonna say Jack Smith. All right, so let's go ahead and send this. All right, that's sent. So now I'm gonna go back to my scenario and actually run this thing, right? So I'm gonna click on run, and it's gonna show you actually the progress. So as you can see right now, it's working on that email, which means it's monitoring the email. ChatGPT is done, Google Sheet is done, and you can see the tick box in the bottom here. And right now it's processing on this 4th step of ChatGPT. So that's done. And the last step is creating a draft. So now it should have created a draft for me with the responses from the ChatGPT and the Google Sheet template that we provided, right? So if I go back to my drafts folder now, I should be able to see the email come through. All right, and there you go. So we received a draft email with the title "My Password is Not Working." Let's click on that and let's check this out. All right, so we got it from johndoe@example.com. The subject is correct because this is the exact subject that the customer sent us. And in our case, we sent it earlier, right? And then here's the content of the email that we got. So it says, "Hello, Jack. I'm sorry to hear you're having trouble logging in. Here are some steps you can take to resolve the issue. Double check the credentials, blah, blah, blah." So it's providing this solution from our ChatGPT. And again, this, as you can see, is very powerful because it reduces the amount of work that your customer service team would need to go ahead and compose this email. It's basically using these 2 categories and it's composing the response based on the prompt that we provided, meaning that it will actually utilize the ChatGPT resources based on the following format. And again, it's not going to be exactly like this because we gave it a sample format or an example format. But as you can see, this is pretty powerful because it actually gave us kind of like a step-by-step, like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, kind of using different solutions that it's providing to our customer. And again, as a customer, as a business owner or whatever, all you have to do is kind of format this if you like. So you just can basically go ahead and use your imagination, your formatting skills to just, all you have to do is just, again, at this point, just format this, and then all you can do is just press send. That's it. So we quickly do that just to make this look all nice and clean. As you can see, it provided several, 6 steps for us. Yep. And then at the end, the 6th step is just contact support. So it says, if none of the above steps work, right, your account might be locked or there could be another issue, reach out to the support team. So as you can see, this really reduces the amount of work that might be required for your customer service team. So this is best of luck. And then you can just put your name down here. As you can see, it's very, very powerful. It just really automates majority of the work that your customer service team, if you're a business owner, it reduces all of that workload because it provides all the solution. All you have to do as a customer service rep is come down here, do some formatting, add your name here at the bottom, and pretty much just click on send. That's it. Basically, one customer service rep can do the job of 10, right? Because majority of their work is being done by ChatGPT and is being automated through our make.com modules that we put together. Okay, so that was the customer request for information. So now let's test our category 2, which is going to be some kind of a customer complaint, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. So now I'm going to go ahead and compose another email to my own. I'll send it to myself. And this is going to be some kind of a customer complaint that we will send to our platform. So I'm just going to say terrible customer service. That's going to be our title. I'm going to say hi. All right. So that's kind of a customer complaint or something. Again, it could be whatever. I'm just giving an example, but now I want to test out to make sure that our ChatGPT and our model is capable of categorizing the emails that are coming in, whether it's some kind of a request for information like in the previous one, or is some kind of a customer complaint that a customer is sending, whether it's about a platform or some kind of a review that's providing, so that we will be able to format that and provide that template that we used as our second prompt. So this time I'm going to name Jane Doe. Okay, cool. All right, so let's send this. I'm going to click on send. So that's been sent. There in our inbox we can see as 1. So now let's go ahead and run the scenario again. Okay, so it's working on email, it's watching our emails, so it's going to be the trigger. That's done. Now the second step is ChatGPT, Google Sheet accessing the our categories, and then the next fourth step is Google or ChatGPT providing a response and then creating a draft. That's going to be our last module. So now let's wait for that to come in too. All right, there you go. Perfect. So now we got our terrible customer service. Okay, let's maximize it so we can read it. All right. So, dear Jane, thank you for your feedback. I'm sorry to hear that you're not satisfied with the customer service. So perfect. It worked exactly like we wanted to. So now it's smart enough to categorize the emails into our 2 categories. So it realized that this is not a customer request for information. This is actually some kind of a customer feedback or a customer complaint. And therefore it utilized our second category, which was customer complaint. And it said, basically, hello, the customer name, thank you for reaching out. So it thanks the customer first about the issue, and it says, we're sorry that you're having this issue, we regret your experience, blah blah blah. So that's kind of the format that we're providing. As you can see, that's pretty much exactly what this is. So all you have to do is just kind of like do some formatting so that we can read this better. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down here. Perfect. All right, so now let's read and see if it followed our prompt guidelines. So thank you for your feedback. I'm sorry to hear that you're not satisfied with the customer service and the user interface of our platform. We strive to provide high quality experience. Your feedback is valuable for us to improve. Could you please provide more specific regarding issues you encounter with our customer service? See, so now it's really actually reading the content of the email in detail, and it's providing an actual proper response to the content of email. So it's not just some generic response that it's going to provide, just like a normal human customer service representative would do, right? So it's smart enough to understand that. And again, that's because we're using ChatGPT models to actually filter those things in the first step, use our template via our Google Sheet, and then have ChatGPT provide a proper response based on the template and the initial categorization that occurred. And all it has to do is just send us a draft email, because we want still the ability to control and review this email before we can send it out to our customer. So as you can see, this is a very, very powerful automation tool. Whether you have a one-person business, whether you have a social media account, or a small business yourself, this really could be very useful for you, because again, it reduces the amount of work that if you have one customer service and they were overwhelmed, instead of hiring another one, what this does is actually gives that customer service representative the power to automate majority of their work, right? So now all they have to do is just kind of do some formatting, double check to make sure that the content of the email makes sense, and press on send. That's about it. All right, hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.